Welcome back, everyone. We're here again, live streaming, because life is incredibly hectic as per usual. Um, Allegedly, I'm yet to believe in it myself, but we'll go with it. Um, but we just thought we haven't really got many topics really today, so we thought what would be fun, just to round up a couple of the rumours that have been happening the last couple of weeks. Because there has been a few interesting ones. There's been the usual like rubbish ones, like David Tennant's coming back already. Um, but there's also been some that have got a bit of what's the word, substance to them. So we'll do that. Then we're going to talk about some companion moments, and then some Doctor Who game talk. But obviously, if there's anything else that you want us to talk about, you know what to do. Leave it in the chat, and yeah, go from there. So we'll kick this off. The first thing that has sprung up recently is that we could be looking at a potential Martha Jones return to Doctor Who, because recently Martha Jones, Freema Agyeman was questioned at a convention, and she did a very sort of a very bad job, really, of trying to dodge the question, because they did the whole like, oh, were you involved in the 60th anniversary or beyond at all? And she did the whole, I don't really know what to say, instead of just saying a flat out no. She sort of was a bit like, maybe. And this doesn't necessarily mean she's going to be in the 60th or Doctor Who. It could be to do with this unit spin-off, which I think is probably the most likely option. And I think that'll probably get introduced sometime in Ncuti's first series as like a backdoor pilot. So obviously, we've got Kate and Unit involved anyway. It would make sense. And there was an actress spotted of a similar height to Freema Agyeman, who was spotted sort of being escorted onto set wearing like a big hoodie and everything, and sort of rushed into the location. I think they were filming down in the Great Hall in Cardiff, and she was it was a couple of days ago now, I think. But yeah, there was definitely someone who was smuggled in, some sort of person they want to keep under wraps. Whether it's Freema or not, we don't know, but my guess is it's probably the most likely option if we're going to be getting this unit spin-off in the next year or so. We'll be going, if it's yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely the best way to do it. It's the most sensible way of doing it as well, and I think depending on production schedules and everything, it could be quite easily sort of, we could get Doctor Who in the spring and then Unit in the autumn, which means it could realistically go into production in the coming months. So maybe we'll find out more as time goes on. But I would expect an official announcement round about November time, just time with the anniversary, and be like, oh, you're getting the spin-off this time next year, But there are also rumours that Series 15 is going to go into filming as well in autumn, to give, obviously, the cast a bit of a break before having to go around and promote it. Obviously, Ncuti has got to do a load of press for the Barbie film anyway that's coming out in the next couple of days. I'm pretty sure that Tom's got his ticket for that as well. I mean, I can say firsthand that's absolute lies. Oh, do you know what I've done? Tom, I'm so sorry. I've just forgot to unmute Tom's desktop audio. So for the first couple of minutes of this, I've just been talking to thin air. I'm very sorry. Just unmuted it now. Say hello, Tom.
Wow. Thank you for that, Will.
I'm so sorry. It's been a really long week and I'm very tired. I mean, to be fair, most of that was just me rambling anyway. I wasn't going to say you didn't miss much because that just sounds rude, but yeah, you're there now, so the folks at home can hear you.
Do you know what's annoying? I've just seen where they were filming in Cardiff. It's not far from the stadium at all.
Yeah,
I was there 4 days ago.
Why
did I not see this?
The thing is that because it was like sort of it's reaching the end of production. I think they've got a couple more locations to do, but they're expecting to wrap production middle of July now. And I'm very jealous of everyone that's managed to meet all the cast and everything. Had pictures with like Bonnie Langford and Shooty Gatwa and Millie Gibson and all that. I'm very jealous, but it will happen one day when the stars align and everything. But hopefully, there is rumours that they're going to be in a coffee shop in Cardiff at some point. And let's be honest, we all know which coffee shop it'll be. It'll be the nicest one there, the same one that we used in Fugitive of the Jejune, because that place is banging.
Yeah.
If you want a bacon sandwich that tastes gourmet, go there.
My cat's dead. Is asking if there's anyone here. Yeah, we are here. Let's double check it's coming through. Yeah, it's coming through audio. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
That's fine.
I thought I was God, don't tell me. I thought I'd muted something else then. This is professionally run as ever. This is why we don't. This is why we're not Twitch streamers. We're YouTubers, because that way we know what we're doing. This is very new to me. I'm saying that like I'm a very good YouTuber. It's all very new to me. Oh, blimey! But that was the first main rumor of recent weeks. Because we haven't really done sort of rumor roundup for a while. Is the reappearance of Martha Jones in some form, whether she's going to be in the series or this is stuff to do with the unit spin-off. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Who knows? But I think I would be quite excited to see her back. I think there's a lot more potential with Martha, not just because that she's sort of, she's there on Earth. It makes sense. You don't have to sort of have some contrived way of getting her back in the action. She's there. She can be cracking on with the unit as she has been, and go from there, really. So, fingers crossed. I'm quite happy to see Martha back. I think she's a very underrated character.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've been rewatching part of season 4, and I've just gotten to the first. Well, I've watched the end of Sontaran Stratagem, and she's used a lot better in that than I think she is throughout season 3.
Yeah.
In terms of like Doctor interaction and stuff, it's kind of upsetting to think that we could have had a whole series of that previously.
And I love that trio as well of the 10th Doctor, Martha and Donna. I think Martha and Donna work really well together as well.
Yeah, so I'd love to. You never know. We might even. Actually, no, it's not going to happen. All everything done with it's going to be. With the 60th is done, so I doubt we're going to see Martha in there. But
it depends, because she could have been there on set or something as a little secret.
True.
Still, that middle special we still don't really know anything about.
The second one, that was kept under wraps. So you never know. But no, I would love to see her come back in some form of capacity. Working with unit is the only real way of making it make sense. So.
Yeah, no, exactly. But the other recent rumour, and this is one that I don't know if there's anything behind. It might have just been a miss here, but the video that appeared of them filming the other day with the Doctor and Mel on the moped, which by the way I loved as a cool little callback to Delta and the Bannermen. Loved that. There's a lot of extras running from something and sort of looking behind them as if they're being chased by something from above, and that's got people thinking Daleks.
Oh.
And apparently the word Dalek was heard somewhere, but it might have also just been someone else saying, "Oh, this could be Daleks." It's not really confirmed. I know it's caused a bit of a thing on Twitter because some people are sort of complaining that. Another Dalek finale, but we haven't really had that many Dalek finales. The last big Dalek finale we had was 2008, because everything else has been like either cameos or they've been in specials,
Yeah, because the finale to Matt Smith's involved the Daleks pretty much at the end, but for the most part, they were the monster was just the monster he was fighting was the B plot, so it's just tied up a loose end. They've not been a major big bad for the finale for a long time, so it'll be nice to see him in that capacity again.
Yeah, and the reason I use a little movie Dalek image there on the screen is because there's obviously we've heard now that the Bronze Daleks have been retired, which I think is about time. They're a great design, but I think it is nice to have something new.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing the new one.
And I put the 60s because I thought I'd love a sort of 60s movie Dalek inspired design. I don't think the 3D printed design from the Chibnall era worked that well. It was cool from a production side of things in terms of the fact that they were fully automated.
Yeah.
But I just think that as a designer, I wasn't that much of a fan. They were too clunky. They wasn't that sort of streamlined. It felt very cobbled together, which kind of works in Resolution, but when you see it in Revolutions of Daleks, and it doesn't really do much for me, I'll be honest.
yeah, it wasn't like spectacular personally, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the new Daleks look. Um,
Yeah. I think
it was,
if they
and
were to go
also,
something,
sorry to cut you off, but with the new look of the Daleks, do you reckon there's a good chance that the Doctor doesn't quite know who they are at first?
I mean, depending on how unique they go with it, I mean, a Dalek is always pretty recognizable from a silhouette. It's more the specifics of things that change, but who knows? To be fair, I think we're gonna have that sort of. I think it makes sense really to have Shooty go up against the Daleks in his first run in somehow, because that's usually sort of like the big moment for a Doctor, isn't it? When they first go up against the Daleks, and
Yeah,
I
it's
think
the make
leaving
or
it too
break.
long is a bit. I think that they should have been like. I think that was an issue a lot of people had with Series 11. The fact that a lot of it felt too new and too standalone. And I'm hoping
Yeah,
now
you.
that with a new Doctor, now we're going to get some sort of not necessarily a big like arc involving the Daleks, but something that carries on throughout. I don't just want 8 individual stories, and we have had confirmation as well that the last 2 episodes will be like a 2-part finale, which I believe is where Mel's going to come into things, judging from the filming at the minute. I think she's going to be sort of the big guest for the finale of Series 14, which is going to be pretty cool. Obviously, we have spoke a bit about Mel coming back, which has been good fun,
Mm.
and very excited to see that actually.
Yeah, do you reckon she's just gonna scream and run away like she used to?
Oh God, no! They'll have written here now. She'll be much improved, I think, because Bonnie Langford is a very good actress, to be fair, and I think
Yeah.
she did play that stereotypical companion back in the 80s when she was around. Um,
Well, she wanted the part, and unfortunately, it was difficult to get the roles back then. Really, to some extent.
I think it was more a production thing. I think it was just the way the character was written. She's got this backstory of being a computer programmer, and then that's never mentioned again. But I've been listening to a couple of her Big Finish stuff recently, and Bonnie Langford has really got the character now. Mel is one of my favourites on audio now. So to have her back in the new series as well, I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to do no end of good to the reputation of Melanie Bush. So,
Mm. No, that
what's
would be
next?
nice.
The next one, the next newest, newest. This is like one of the oldest rumors in Doctor Who is that a number of missing episodes have been found. There was a thing on Twitter the other week that a collector whose name has gone out of my head. He was the collector that was responsible for returning the Underwater Menace 2 and what was the other one? Galaxy 4-3. About 10, 11 years ago now. He sadly passed away, and his collection has been sort of moved on to whoever. And there's a chance that there may be some more episodes because he wasn't aware that the value of the stuff he had. He just enjoyed collecting the films and everything. And that's probably when we're going to get missing episodes now, is from people that didn't really realise they had the most significance of having certain episodes of Doctor Who in there. Because I don't think we're going to get any more from TV stations or anything now. They'll have all been returned or they'll have been junked. But there have been
Yeah.
specific episodes that weirdly popped up on Apple TV. Not the episodes themselves, but from Apple TV's listing of BritBox, there was a couple of episodes that had synopsis and like a photo to show as if they were there. Obviously they didn't play, but it almost as if like they're getting ready to be put on these platforms because they've been found. And it wasn't a complete story. It was sort of episodes. I think it was 2 episodes from. Oh, what was it? I'm going to forget this now. I think it was 2 episodes from the Mythmakers, 2 episodes from the Smugglers, an episode of the Highlanders, and 3 episodes from the Space Pirates. I think. Now, it could have
Ooh.
obviously just been a mistake because obviously these synopses exist for these episodes regardless, and they could have just been uploaded in error. But they were given like synopses that matched the sort of events of that story, so it wasn't just like they've been randomly like put up there with the different episodes. They fit what was going on. So there is a bit of a rumor that maybe there's been a few found and they're sort of being geared up to be announced in the next couple of weeks and released onto BritBox and things. Because I know that's basically what happened last time with the Enemy of the World and the Web of Fear. They were all uploaded to iTunes, and then a DVD like followed a couple of weeks later. I think it would make sense to stick them all on BritBox / ITV Hub / whatever platform, to get them out there straight away as soon, because it might be a case of that they've been found, they're just in this process of being remastered and whatever and cleaned up a bit because they'll have been in someone's shed for the last 50 odd years. So they probably will need a bit of work doing in terms of just making sure that they are suitable to be broadcast. And it could tie in with this rumour as well of the colorizations of classic stories that are going to be happening on telly later in the year. Maybe they'll be broadcast. That would be pretty cool. But they aren't, they are sort of random episodes here and there. There's not like a complete story, and the ones that are retained, they don't form any complete stories. I know that Space Pirates already has episode 2 existing, but the others are all, the others are all missing anyway. So there still are gaps, but hey, we'll be happy for anything at this point because it's been 10 years since we last had any come back. So sort of the hope had sort of died for a lot of people. But this is, there's always. I think there are still some out there. I think whether or not we ever get them back is a different question because it all depends on whether or not people are aware of the significance of what they've got.
My guess is they're not, and it might just be they're holding on to it as it was like their father or grandfather's most treasured possession, so they haven't gotten rid of it because of sentimental value.
Yeah, that's the other thing to consider as well, isn't it? Is that, people might know what they have, and say if they are from people that have passed away and have obtained their collections, and, they might not be willing to give them back and everything, I think...
You've got to respect their decision at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as nice as it would be to see those missing episodes back on TV, it would be insane to go back and just watch them. But
there might be some arrangement where they can lend them for a couple of weeks to make a digital copy of them or something, and then hand back the original prints to them. But
there's bound to be a way around it.
I don't know how the copyright around it works because technically, obviously, they are BBC property. But then at the same time, if the tape has come from, like the ones that were found in 2013, they all came from a TV station in Nigeria, of all places. It's like how much do you sort of go there? Well, I've got these back now, but you guys can have them. But I really don't know how it works, to be fair. Mostly because I don't have any Doctor Who missing episodes in my cupboard.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you did, my God, where the hell did you come across those?
Now, that would be an interesting bit of content, wouldn't it? We'll react to the missing episode that's been in my loft for the last God knows how long. It depends on the sort of situation, really, because I think, in terms of missing episodes, Doctor Who's definitely up there with sort of like the biggest casualties of it, because lots of shows do have them. The Avengers has a couple. There's a great show called Out of the Unknown where most of that is sort of missing. There's like things like Z Cars and stuff like that that's got missing episodes. But it all depends, really, of just, who's got them, if they're willing to hand them over. Do they even know what they've got? Are there even any out there? Are we just, was this just a sort of admin error on the side of Apple TV that's just sparked all of us nerds up into a bit of a frenzy?
I reckon someone's buried a few into like a time capsule somewhere just to dig up in 100 years' time. Well, 100 years from when they buried it. No, it's
surely not. I mean, you wouldn't put a big can of film reel underground, would you? That would do awful things to the picture. You might as well just put the tin in there. Because it'd probably come out unwatchable if it was underground for
they might not.
decades.
They might not have realised that at that point, but
like
they may have done that with where they might have made a few copies of some episodes, just put them in a time capsule, just so in 100 years from when it was buried, they can see what TV was like and what was on, and
and then streaming was invented.
And then in the run up to it, just over time, the episodes have gone missing or the other copies have been destroyed or lost.
Can you imagine if that's how we got something back? Like, what's this? You want the space? You want the time planet, the 10th planet, episode 4? Do you? Well, it's about 4 miles underground in a church yard or something.
We got the entire serial of the Dalek Master Plan, but you have to dig 10 miles to go and get it.
Oh, give me a spade and I'll do it myself, honestly.
Yeah,
that is one that will probably never come back complete, though, to be fair, because episode 7, the Christmas special, was never sold abroad. Because it's Christmas special, it wouldn't make any sense to be aired in sort of Australia in the spring or something. So we'll probably never ever get. That's probably the one that we can definitely for certain say that will never come back. All the others, it's unlikely, but you never know what's out there. But that one, because it was never sold outside of the UK, it will never come back. Unless by some sort of miracle that they just never wiped the master tape and it's somewhere that they just don't know about. But I think it's pretty much confirmed that we'll never get that one back again, which is a shame. But
yeah,
it is what
it would be nice to get them all back, to be honest. But it's just a reality. It's just a reality that we won't.
Yeah, I think the count of missing episodes now stands at 97. So I
Yeah.
think the
I think it's incredible that they've got back what they have.
considering we're back in the day, it was like, it was over 200, including quite a lot of John Pertwee stuff as well.
Yeah, like
I
that's
think
insane. But
sort of praise the efforts of people that have managed to track these copies down and bring them back.
yeah,
Well,
and
we can
it's
live in
made for
hope
some
anyway.
nice. Yeah, I mean, we can live in hope. It's been a lot of hours of fun on our part going back and watching them. Even now, it's like I enjoy just a casual binge of classic Who now and then.
No,
It's great.
I've been watching a bit of Peter Davison recently, which is obviously nothing to do with missing episodes. But what did I watch? I watched Kinder yesterday for like the 25 billionth time, and it's still brilliant.
It is brilliant. Kinder's one of his best stories.
100%, top 3 easily for me.
Yeah.
What are we talking about next? Because you sort of brought this topic on today.
So, I was thinking, there's been a lot of like sad companion moments, be it death, they've been separated for the Doctor permanently, whatever. Like it happens. It's a risk of traveling with the Doctor. But I just wanted to pick out a couple that were horrendous for different reasons. But it's purely just because of from an emotional scale to just downright brutality of how it happened, despite the fact it won't go into detail on the show to that extent how brutal it was, like Bill's death, which is a good place to start.
It's fresh in the mind for me because I rewatched that on the weekend as well.
Same. I rewatched it, having said about it for the video. So Bill was the companion in series 10 with Capaldi, and Capaldi's strongest series by far, I think.
By I wouldn't even say country mile, by a continental mile.
Yeah. So yeah, series 10 was just incredible. But the bit that stood out for me was Bill at the end becoming a Cyberman. So it's not only has the Doctor lost Bill, she's now become a Cyberman, and that's not a reversible process. Like, it's not something you can just go back and fix. And just before the end of the first episode of that 2-parter, she's left saying, "I waited for you." So Bill's consciousness is still very much in there in the Cyberman, and the Doctor is literally just a couple of minutes late, effectively.
And it's horrific, really, because obviously you get that bit where she's shot at the start, and you think, until you see the gaping hole in his stomach, you think, oh, she's been shot, but she'll probably be fine. But when you see the hole, you think, oh, there's something this is awful. And then you get the whole cut back to her, the Doctor being like, oh, we'll just pick a distress signal or scenario, we'll drop Missy in and see what happens. And the whole promise you won't get me killed thing, and there she is being converted into a Cyberman. I think it's even in the second part, isn't it, where the Master says to the Doctor, oh, she was down here for 10 years, and you missed her by like half an hour or something.
Yeah,
like to have that such narrow margin of being able to get to her after she spends 10 years down on the bottom of the ship is just brutal.
Yeah, and I felt a massive emotional pull on that one, because I really liked Bill. I was really hoping we'd have a bit more time with her, personally, because I enjoyed their dynamic on screen. It really worked for me. They had really good chemistry, and then they go and do that. Obviously, the actress wanted to go off and do her own thing. That's fair enough. Capaldi was leaving.
I think it was more as well the fact that obviously the show was going to go under another change because it was Moffat's last series as well before Chibnall took over. So I think everyone's just sort of assumed it was going to be another one-season companion, which is a shame because I think Bill is the strongest companion of the Moffat era for me.
Yeah. 100%.
I think she's just the most likable out of all of them. She's got a real sort of depth to her. It's the fact that it's not just like they sort of build up to the fact that she can sort of break through the cyber stuff, not because it's not just some sort of like, oh, this is convenient because this means we can still have Pearl Mackie on set rather than just someone in a Cyberman suit pretending to be Bill. We still get to see Pearl Mackie and her reaction to being a Cyberman, seeing her crying and everything when it cuts from Cyber Bill to Bill. And they give the explanation of it's the fact that she spent all that time living under the monks. She's sort of too mentally stable for the cyber programming to break it, which I think is almost in a way it's more devastating, because if she was just a Cyberman, then she'd be like the rest of them. It's horrible, but she wouldn't have any emotions. The fact that she's fully aware of what's happened to her,
everything,
makes it so much worse.
It's by far the most brutal death I think of a new Who companion. I'm not going to say old Who, because Adric's was pretty rough, to say the least.
Well, it was quick.
Yeah, true. He didn't have
Literally.
to sit there and realize what's happened to him constantly.
The Cybermen have been responsible for a lot of deaths around the Doctor, really more so than I say the Daleks. Like, the Cybermen, all right, inadvertently, but still had a hand in Adric. I mean, it was a Cyberman that blew up that console that stopped Adric from doing the last logic puzzle and, being able to save the ship and everything. And, obviously we get Danny as well in Series 8, who goes through a similar fate. Sort of that plays into a bit more body horror. I don't like the Series 8 finale, and I'm not particularly that fussed on Danny either, but I think it's quite interesting to do. But then to go and do the same thing now, but this time with like the sort of full-time companion.
Yeah.
And
but
it
definitely... Sorry, carry on.
It's just a pretty ballsy thing to do for a finale, is to essentially kill off all three of your main characters, really. Because obviously the 12th Doctor is about to regenerate. Bill gets hit into a Cyberman. Nardole basically gets told to just sort of keep trying to save the children, even though it's heavily implied that he's not going to make it anyway.
And Missy and the Master just kill themselves, effectively.
Yeah. You basically it's a very death heavy. It's quite a lot of...
Yeah. And it's just that speech of the Doctor knowing that he can only move them a few floors, because the Cybermen would have plenty of time to go back and stop them. And it's just he knows he's going to have to sacrifice himself, and it's just that whole series. And then Bill just like, well, there's no life for me left after this. I don't mind blowing up, which is a very easy way to put it, I guess. But
yeah, I think the only thing that I mean, it's a nice little full circle moment, and it sort of ties up a couple of loose ends. But the stuff with the fact that Heather comes back and sort of reshapes Bill into her form, and then they go off and be whatever. I think just to have Bill, sounds really horrible, to just let Bill die as the Cyberman would have been, I think, a little bit more impactful. But to be honest with you, it's my only minor quibble with it, to be honest. Yeah,
it's a very powerful episode. I think it's definitely one of my favorites of the Moffat era. But even going back, Moffat did good death scenes for companions, because Amy and Rory's back at the end of middle of Series 7, while they may not be the most loved companions of the Doctors, the Angels Take Manhattan was still a good episode. But they had a long time with them, and when we were younger, I did find myself really enjoying the dynamic as a kid. As I've gotten older, I've looked back and I don't know what it is. Something's not right, and it don't sit well with me, so it doesn't upset me as much. But when it got to that,
with it is Amy, and the way she treats Rory really just rubs me up the wrong way. I know this will be the whole she's torn between the man she loves and then her imaginary friend and everything, but I think the way she just treats Rory at times is just unforgivable. There's the stuff in the Asylum with the Daleks where she's slapping him and everything. You don't need that on Doctor Who.
No, we don't need that if
it was the other way around.
Yeah, we don't need a soap opera on Doctor Who.
It's not even that. It's the fact that it's full-blown domestic violence. So you would never... imagine if that was the other way around and Rory slapped Amy. You would never, ever do that.
Oh, God, no.
And the fact that it's all right for her to do it to him. And it happens a lot. How many times does the Doctor get slapped by River? I just think it's really... doesn't sit well with me at all.
No, but look, the AI show said the Angels Take Manhattan is okay. And I agree with you now looking back. But at the time, I really enjoyed it. But then I did find that death, where I had formed some form of attachment to Amy and Rory as a kid, because at that point I wasn't really taking notice of the way she was treating him. It's only as I've grown up that I've realised that's not okay.
I will admit it is handled well. Their exits, to do the whole them jumping off the building and it's okay, they're going to survive, and then to pull the rug from you again.
Yeah, that was
with the last angel, and I think
was the bit that got me.
It's a perfectly acted scene. I don't have an issue with Karen Gillan or Arthur Darvill or anything. It's just the way the characters are written. I think they do a great job portraying it. And that last scene, where Amy finally realizes that she wants to be Rory and not the Doctor.
Oh yeah,
it
no,
does.
it's beautiful. It is a
Yeah,
beautiful scene. But I even again going on to Clara's death, even that I thought was, despite the way that Clara and 12 were at each other's throats in the most toxic on-screen relationship of all time.
I think it's
Uh,
definitely fitting for her character though, for her to be, she
yeah,
essentially dies because she's got too overconfident, she's got too cocky, and she thinks she can be the Doctor, and there's always a way out, but then it isn't always the case.
yeah,
And I think it's undone massively by Hellbent. I think the biggest mistake they did was bringing Clara into that episode at all.
yeah. They could have just
She
left
should have,
it.
if she'd have died like sort of like in that episode, and there's still 2 episodes of the series left, that does pack a punch. But everyone's sort of expecting her to come back at some point, and I think even showing her in Heaven Sent, all right, it's not her, it's sort of the Doctor's psyche. That should have been that.
Yeah,
It's just another case of Clara's gone. Oh no, she's not. Oh, she's gone now. Oh, she's not. And then she dies. Oh, she's still back. And it's like, just bite the bullet, get rid.
yeah. And thankfully they did, but just they had such. With Clara, the thing that takes away from me, like it's still a saddish moment. Like the way the scene's written is kind of meant to stir up a bit of emotion, I feel, but it takes away that there's been 3 other opportunities to say bye bye to Clara, 2 of which were in the same bloody series, and they didn't pull the trigger of any of them, and they were perfectly good ways to say goodbye. You had the name of the Doctor being the end of Series 7, and that would have tied things up perfectly, where she jumps into his time stream. Or
That's where they
then you
should have
get
left it.
yeah, but then okay, fair enough. You bring her back for the Christmas special and Matt Smith's finals, so you have her in the Day of the Doctor, which I thought she was okay in that. Nothing nothing too bad. But then Time of the Doctor, you could have her go off partway through Series 8. Like she doesn't need to hang around for all of that.
I think at the very least you should have gone at the end of Series 8 where they say goodbye to each other, and they end them by them both lying to each other, and that perfectly represents the sort of toxic pairing that they are. And then maybe have it pop up in the Christmas special, but that's it. That's where you draw the line. And then to have her in Series 9 then, to kill her off,
there was just
and
no
then
need.
still bring her back again. It's like...
And,
oh.
and in Twice Upon a Time, she pops up again.
I can forgive that because that's the sort of regeneration, like, nostalgia
you see Karen
sort
Gillan
of...
back in Time of the Doctor. But
I could
I
just
think
about
that
forgiven that, but
yeah,
the rest of it's just null bollocks. I think one of the saddest companion moments isn't even like an exit. I think for me, one of them is Rose and her dad in Father's Day.
Oh God, yes.
Where she has to say goodbye to him
about to go on to that.
as he's dying and everything. And I think it's still... I think they should have not lingered on it. That sounds really morbid, but I think, all right, it comes up again at the end of the series where she's talking to Jackie about how she met him. But I think that something like that would have much more of a long-term impact. I'm guessing. I've never been in that situation, so. But I think the way it's all done, and I think Sean Dingle and Billy Piper are brilliant. And it's the moment where Pete realizes what he's got to do as well, and you can see it in his eyes when he's looking out at the car, going around the corner and disappearing, and coming back and going around the corner and disappearing. And you could see that look in his face. He's like, hang on a minute.
I'm what's wrong.
And I think there's a lot of Pete in... That sounds really weird. But there's a lot of Pete in Rose. And like,
Easy,
you see, even though she's steady, even though she's obviously grown up without him, there's definitely that still there.
Yeah.
And I think even though he's sort of portrayed as a bit of a knob,
swindler.
Yeah,
yes.
He's messing Jackie about and everything, and I think for Jackie to still have such a high opinion of him when Rose is growing up is quite...
It's testament to their relationship, I think.
Yeah, and I just think that the whole where she says goodbye to him, and it's not overplayed. It's quite easy to do something like that and really overplay it, have everyone in floods of tears, and then him giving her a big speech about go on and do everything. But it's not. It's subtle, and I think the subtlety of it makes it more heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's just all really well done, to be fair. And I think another sad moment that we can come on to is also Donna.
Yeah.
Which
that
we
was
now know
is
made better because we know we're going to see her in November again with David Tennant.
Yeah, but at the time, my gosh, you just had that incredible 2-part finale.
Yeah.
And you've got to say goodbye to Donna. And like it's not even a way that it was done out of her own good. There was no way around it. Like at least a couple of the deaths, there might have been a way around it, but this one was just brutal. Sorry, I'm reading the chat.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. You'd have to apologise.
It was funny. Moffat scrutinised the time. Oh, it's gone now.
I think
Sorry.
with the whole stuff with Donna is the fact that she's got the best arc of any companion in the whole show. She starts off as this quite like standoffish, very snappy, very, she's not that likable when you first meet her. And by the time you get to the end of that, she's grown so much as a person. She's become this sort of Time Lord hybrid thing as well. She's finally getting to be the Donna that she's always really wanted to be and has never felt like she could. She's aware of her own abilities now. She's not that insecure, snappy, rude person that we see in the Runaway Bride. She's a completely different person. And then to have all of that taken away just as she gets to that point, she doesn't even get to live as this Dr. Donna for a couple of weeks. It has to happen now, otherwise she's going to die.
It's that line where the Doctor sat with the Noble family saying how like there were planets safe in the sky because of her. She used it for a few minutes. She was the most important person in the universe, and her mum goes, "Oh, she always was." And then the Doctor just snaps because he's finally like he's seen how she gets treated at home by her mum, and it isn't the best way. She does kind of treat Donna like she's a bit not all there in the head. And it does come up.
It's very much that sort of like disappointed mother, She's like, "Oh, why?
Yeah.
You always tempt me and everything. You should be doing this. You should be doing that." It's that sort of thing. And those words from the Doctor do last because when we get to the end of time, the way she is with Donna is a lot more positive.
Yeah.
They still sort of like bicker a little bit, but you get that with anyone. Like,
yeah, it's a standard mother-child relationship. Like you're gonna clash.
But it's not nasty anymore. It's just sort of standard bickering. But the relationship is, on the whole, a lot more positive.
Yeah,
and I think that's the impact of Donna and the Doctor.
Yeah, and seeing the 10th Doctor's emotion to finally break through fully in that just small little snap of a sentence.
Yeah,
it just makes that scene just a lot more impactful.
Yeah, and again, it's the subtlety of it. Like, he doesn't go on a big speech or anything. He doesn't give her a big telling off. It's just a simple, well, maybe you should tell her that,
Doesn't get a chance to go on a big speech because Donna comes in the room after.
Yeah, but they could have quite easily written some big speech and then she walks in or something. But, I think it's played very well. I think, it's going to the classic series now because I've just got the subject of memory wipes. I think Jamie and Zoe as well.
Yeah.
That's especially the bit where... sad. Obviously Jamie goes back and he's, are you okay? And Zoe's like, oh, I feel like I've forgotten something, but it can't have been that important or anything. And it's like, oh, no, it is. It's so important.
Yeah.
I think that's to be fair, I think the classic series is so weird because some of the companion exits are done so well and others are flipping terrible.
They're just sort of done and just left,
Yeah, you could tell the sort of contracts that they go, oh, I'm just going to stay here now. Why? I just fancy it. Why not?
Oh, just tired of moving around all the time, Doctor. Just want to go back to bed for a bit.
Yeah, it's not even that. They literally just like the Doctor's about to go. He's saying goodbye to everyone. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not coming with you. I'm staying here." Ta, and that's it. I'm thinking of like Romana and Leela falling in love with Andred in Invasion of Time, which is just nonsense. But then you get exits that are done really well. I think
Susan's exit was done well. I thought
Susan's exit is good. I think it's a shame that it was never really picked up on again. I think the whole I'll come back for you one day and then we've never seen her since is a bit,
Well, no, we did. Dimensions in Time, we saw her.
Oh God!
It's canon, people.
Not only did I have to watch that in 3D, I also had to watch it again when I was editing it. So you only had to sit through it once. I had to sit through it twice in the space of 2 days.
No, I haven't because I have watched it twice over since. In fairness, because I do watch the videos when they go out all the time. So
because I do all the editing, and he wants to see how much I've cut.
Well, to be fair, you're not cutting that much because.
Well, I can't really from a full commentary, can I? It's sort
no,
of...
but then even in the other videos, there's not really a lot you are cutting. We're getting quite good at making it as minimal cuts as possible.
Recently, I don't know if anybody
Yeah.
remembers the Jodie Whittaker
Early
tier list that
doors.
we did, which is an hour and 15 minutes long. The raw recording of that, which we
It's
did,
2 hours and a half, isn't
remotely,
it?
it was 2 hours and 35 minutes. So it's essentially like I've cut nearly half of it. So, you know, be
The
thankful for
doctor
that.
the doctor gets to regenerate. Companions apparently degenerate. A funny AI show. But this is also the person who said he thought that they thought that Rose was the strongest companion of New Who.
I mean, I don't like. I know I've said many times that I'm not the biggest fan. I don't think that people are entirely wrong when they, with Rose, because I think she's great in series 1 and even in series 2 she has moments. I just don't like the smugness and the relationship. But I
Yeah, you
get
don't
why
like
people would.
you don't like the doctor companion relationship
Yeah,
like that. Do you? Like
I'm
it's
very like no hanky panky in the TARDIS. Thank you very much.
not on my console.
No, but I can see it. It's when people are like, "Oh yes, I love Clara," and you're like, "Are you on drugs? Are you okay? Do you need me to call someone?"
But
Like, I don't know.
I think that mix of smugness with that relationship between Ten and Rose really did heavily impact that. Like, because Doomsday bloody gets me still to this day. Like, it is one of the rawest, like,
No,
emotional
it's very good. It's
goodbyes.
still very good.
It's very much like she can no longer. Oh, sorry, AI show. One of, not the strongest. Sorry,
We'll
but
put Tom
yeah,
in charge of reading the chat.
Rose is fit according to OJ. Uh,
I mean,
fair.
fair enough.
Everyone's
Each
entitled
to
to an
their own.
opinion. Yep. Yeah. So it's when she's like can't go back across the bridge, where you think she's gonna die, but then it turns out that in terms of for her, the reality in her position might be that she'd have rather died than suffer the way she is every day. I don't know, but then you get that scene at the end on Dalig Stranden Beach or Bad Wolf Bay,
Although
where
I've always known it, the Gower Peninsula.
yes, a beautiful spot to be fair. We should go there.
Well, we'll film something down there eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that bit with where they get that last final bit of chat, and he says, "I better say it. I guess this is the last time I can say it." And he's about to say he loves her, and then it just fades. That's the bit that gets you, I think. That scene.
Yeah,
That's
see,
the
my main issues with that are the fact that the Pete just dimension jumps off out of nowhere and he's not sucked in, but that's a minor quibble.
Yeah.
But
No, it is. It
I
is a
think
quibble, nonetheless.
another one that I think works quite well, apart from the fact that it's done a couple of episodes later as well in this classic series, is Perry.
Mm.
When Perry's
Trial
like,
of the
sort of
Time Lords.
supposedly killed off, I
Yeah.
think that would have worked really well, and it spars the Sixth Doctor on to be like, what the fuck is going on here? Because I'm going to burn this place to the ground unless you tell me what's happened. And then by the end of it, it's like, oh no, she actually went off and married King Yrcanos, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
What? Like, my headcanon is the fact that the Inquisitor just told the Doctor that to try and make him feel better after everything he's just been through, and that she is actually dead. Because that makes more sense than her just all of a sudden going like, ah, yes, I'm going to go marry Brian Blessed. Because I think some of the expanded media picks up on it, and apparently they went back to Earth, and King Yrcanos was like a WWE champion or something, and Perry became like his publicist or something daft. I can't quite remember.
Who was the champion?
King Yrcanos, the one that she allegedly marries. Brian Blessed in Trial of Time Lords,
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, I think he was.
Should we have you got any other companion things we want to talk about? We could always do this in more depth another time as well if it's what people want to see.
Yeah, no, I haven't got anything more to add at this point in time.
Okay, so we shall move on to a suggested topic by one of our viewers who suggested that we talk about Doctor Who video games, because I think that while there have been some sort of, decent attempts here and there, I think that that's the one thing that Doctor Who really hasn't quite nailed in terms of like spin-off media and merch. So we did talk about it as well when we talked about merch and everything, but the adventure games that they did with the free to play, like the free downloadable ones, are probably the best Doctor Who's got to a game, because quite a lot of the time it's usually just some other game with like the Doctor Who like iconography stuck on top of it. you get like a Top Trumps game for the Wii, but it's just Top Trumps, it's just Doctor Who cards. And then you get like the Wii game that they did, which was basically just like any sort of run around, collect puzzles, and hide from things, just with the Doctor and Amy and some Daleks and Cybermen and everything.
Yeah.
But,
It's they've definitely missed a trick with that, I think.
yeah,
Because nowadays, especially with the graphics that are available now, it's incredible what they could do. I personally, I would love to see him do. It's a big ask, but open world RPG type thing, where you get to you get to run around as you can choose between one of the doctors to travel with or something, and you can make your own companion, or make your own doctor or something, make your own incarnation, and or just be a Time Lord. It doesn't even have to be Doctor. It could just be you could get to fly a TARDIS. Everything else in the world around you is happening, but it could be like pre-Time War stuff.
yeah, it could be stuff like, you know, it could be like a Gallifrey CIA type thing, you know, where you're an operative and you're off and you've got to travel to distant worlds to do research, and at that point you've got to like fight off aliens and things like that. I think maybe even like a Call of Duty style, maybe not obviously as violent as Call of Duty, but like a sort of unit, like a spy thriller game, you know, where you're shooting at things and you've got to sort of solve things, and there's an ongoing story, something like that, you know, because all you have to do is look at Star Wars and the amount of good Star Wars games that we've had. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a main character. You could have a new character. Like, I'm thinking of like the, you know, Jedi Fallen Order. I can't talk about Jedi Survivor because unfortunately I don't have a cool new Xbox, so I can't play it. Not that I'm bitter.
It's very good.
Shut the fuck up. Honestly. But you know, something like along those lines, where, you know, you've got like this ongoing threat. You know, you could even have it sort of like, it could be, I don't know if off the top of my head, but you could have someone like a game about Belle and her journey through the Flux and trying to find Vinda and everything. That sort of,
that would be awesome.
You know, you have like just a new character that's going around after something like the Flux, or, you know, some other apocalyptic event, and them trying to put piece things back together and get things back on track and everything, or they're trying to find the Doctor or something. That would work really well. Some, you know, nice big campaign, really well done. You've got to fight different aliens along the way and everything. Something like that would work really, really well.
Yeah, or even doing something along the lines of, I'm not sure if you ever played it, but one of the Dawn of War computer strategy games. So you pick a faction, and it'd have to be one of the warring factions of Doctor Who, which I think half of them are anyways. They have that capability at least.
Yeah.
And you have a home world, and you just got to try and just conquer the entire world or board or universe.
See,
and stuff like that. That would be quite good, because you can have a bit more lore than going specifically into the lesser known Doctor Who aliens, other than the Cybermen and the Daleks. You could have a lot more in-depth lore going into that, which I think would help.
Yeah, with Doctor Who, it's because it's got that sort of infinite potential to it. You can do any type of game that is popular now. You could do sort of like a battle royale type unit thing. You could do a shooter. You could do a strategy game. You could even we could probably leave the puzzle games because we have enough of them now. But you know, Doctor Who shows up in other games. You know, we had that Fallout thing, Fall Guys thing before, where there was like obviously that's a bit different. But that's sort of, you know, there's a presence there and there's a market for it. You know, we've got this rumoured Fortnite collaboration thing that's supposed to be happening in the next couple of months. Lego Dimensions, you know, there's a big chunk of that is Doctor Who. So I think there's even, do you know what I would love? Even like a Lego Doctor Who.
Yeah.
How good would that be? You do it like, you know, you can do it, say, even if you just limit it to the new series, and each, you know, you can go and play each series through, and you pick out like key episodes. You have like Rose, and then you have like Aliens in London, then you have like Dalek, and then Empty Child in the finale.
Well, and just like free roam in between, or just...
Yeah, have it just like set free roam, or just like, you know, like the original Lego Star Wars, where you go in and you just like play through the films, and there's chapters to each of them. You play through the series, and instead of the chapters, it's like a condensed version of the episodes. Yeah. You know, something like that would work really, really well.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. And then you can hopefully they can do a lot then with the regeneration as well, because
Yeah.
obviously each Doctor regenerates. Or would they? Do you reckon they try and keep it as close to the series as possible in terms of how the regeneration is done?
I mean, I think
Because
when you've got a Lego game, you get that bit more freedom and you expect to be a bit more out there. But I think wasn't it? I'm pretty sure in Lego Dimensions when you were playing as a Doctor, you had like an option to like if you had the characters unlocked, you could like regenerate, but you cycle backwards rather than forward. So you start off as the 12th Doctor, and then you go back to the 11th and the 10th and the 9th and so on and so on.
yeah, so I'm just reading the chat. Doctor Who dating simulator from Matthew.
Oh God,
Grand Theft
terrifying.
TARDIS, Grand Theft TARDIS, or Sontaran's Creed.
But that's the thing, isn't it? You could do something like that. You could have, you know, even something that would just not necessarily rip off of the franchise, but that sort of similar thing where you can have your big open platform RPGs, or you can have like just a nice big campaign,
Yeah,
or you have something a bit more fun and family friendly like Lego Doctor Who, which I think is
Yeah.
probably like the most like sensible one they could do. It's probably the one that would sell the best because you've had like we've had Lego Star Wars, Lego Harry Potter, Lego Batman, Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. There's probably loads more as well.
They could even just throw in. So you hear about some throughout the episodes. You hear some adventures that they've been on, but you don't get to see. Could even go into depth on some of those as like side missions or something.
Yeah, you could easily do something. I keep mentioning like Jedi Survivor and everything, but like a big long campaign, and it's just a standard Doctor Who story, but played as a game. And you can play as a Doctor or the companion or whatever. Release one for a couple of years' time, and you could play as like the 15th Doctor, or you can play as Ruby, or Mel or whatever. I think it would just work really well.
Yeah, and then allow for a run back option where you can just run through as a Dalek and see what happens. Please. Yeah. Or Davros. Run around in a little bumper car.
Because of even those adventure games that they did that were like free to download and everything, all right, obviously they were very much like designed to be a game, but the stories were there. You're still taking part in this ongoing narrative. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
And obviously quite a lot of that is dictated by you wouldn't have like half an hour of an episode of people like hiding in corners from to get detected by Cybermen, but that's it's the same sort of thing. As long as you've got like a decent plot there, and you can play around with that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all they need to do is just, as you said, the stories are there. They just need to find a way of making it enjoyable. Do something to capture some fan engagement early on. But yeah, they are missing a trick by not releasing a game. Whether it's they can't find anyone who's willing to take it on, or the BBC won't sell the rights to Doctor Who, I don't know. So like a company to do it.
Yeah, I think it's very much maybe like a money/interesting because they've made games. The one I've got on screen there's The Edge of Reality that only came out like year before, but Doctor Who has always been that sort of. The games are always plagued by bugs and they're very rushed. I think you need to give it to someone like EA or something to just really sit down and smash it out over a couple of years and release something that really does work.
Yeah. Matthew says, do a Doctor Who Souls-like game, and if you die, instead of respawning, you just regenerate and all your stats get randomized.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
That's a very cool.
That would be very interesting.
This is the thing. See, the potential is infinite.
Yeah. I'd enjoy that quite a lot, to be honest.
Because I haven't really played many of the newer games. I was going to get the one that was released on Xbox the year before last, but I heard lots of reviews saying it was really buggy and like you have to play it for like 2 hours before you can save it at a time when the checkpoints are really few and far between, and I'm just
we don't have the time for that.
No, ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, we both work too much to sit down and play 2 hours of Doctor Who just to save it because. There's no telling that the story's any good either. So. No, I'd love to see a game like if they do it where you actually do get to interact with the TARDIS a fair bit, and you can fly it about the vortex. Hmm. Yeah, it'd be
Oh,
interesting to see.
yeah, it would be, but we'll just.
Oh, am I back? Okay, there we go. I don't know what happened there. Okay. Yes. We'll hold on for a few seconds. Uh, yeah. Yes.
It's not going to be a case of has this person got dark hair. It's going to be like, oh, did this person ever encounter the Daleks or whatever? And we've got some quite funny photos of them, so we're going to play that. That's going to be our 500 subscriber special, and then we're going to have a sit down. Hopefully, after that, then I'll be in my new house. 'Cause I'm only
Yeah.
at sort
And
of temporary
hopefully,
stopover at the minute.
hopefully, I'll be knowing where I'm going to be living. I'm not that old. Shut up.
She is. I can't believe that's the one running joke that's been born out of this channel. But yeah, we're going to be doing that, and then we're going to be back to our sort of usual schedule of reviews, reactions, sort of any topics that sort of spring to mind. A couple more games, bit of fun stuff. Hopefully some location stuff now. The weather's getting a bit nicer.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah. So we're going to be carrying on with that really, and obviously
Is there
we'll be
anywhere in London I could go while I'm down at my dad's?
yes.
Let me know, because I'm trying to. Canary Wharf, obviously. Good old Torchwood itself.
Yeah, all the sort of London hotspots have been filtered up, but there's stuff like you can go to Covent Garden. There's loads of places, man. Loads of places. Go to the Post Office Tower, the BT Tower, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
They should just walk in there and just be like, "Oh, can I just film something here for YouTube?" And just see how long it takes security to. That'd be a
Kick
great
me
video,
out.
wouldn't it? Like we'll just send Tom to random Doctor Who locations and see how long it takes for him to get arrested. That's the one. That's the 100,000 subscriber special. We'll stand back from afar. We'll have like a full crew. We'll just send you in there with just like a camcorder, and just see what happens.
Do you mind if I film something for YouTube, please, boys?
Yeah, so he walks into like MI5 or something. Oh, that'd be
Oh,
hilarious.
sorry. Sorry, I think I got the wrong building, mate.
No,
Why are you pointing a gun
funny.
at me?
Anyway, on that note, probably gonna wrap this up now. So thank you all for joining us once again, and we will be speaking to you next week, I imagine. Now.
Yes. Yeah, I gotta. Yeah.
We kept him up. He's gonna have a Horlicks now and watch Emmerdale and go to bed.
Christ, I'm not old.
Anyways, goodbye everyone. See you later.
Ta-ra, guys.